Hello, good morning. Welcome back to the lecture series on Indian banking. My name is Professor KGT Simha, faculty in one of the reputed institution in Bangalore. Today we are going to deal with some issues related to the NPA. How this NPA problem has tackled. So what are the steps that the RBI and the government level have taken to tackle this problem? What could be other steps to be followed in order to control further mounting up of NPA? So now let us start with the steps to be dealt with the NPA problem. As you all know that, so this is one of the serious problem in our country. Several steps the government of India has already taken on legal, financial, policy level reforms. Earlier in the year 1991, the Narasimham Committee recommended many reforms to tackle this menace. Some of them were already implemented, and now let us understand the list of various steps taken so far. Number 1. The Debt Recovery Tribunals, 1993. It is nothing but to reduce the time required for settling cases. They are governed by the provisions of the Recovery Debt Due to Banks and Financial Institutions Act 1993. So basically it reduces reducing the time frame to settle the NPA cases. Related to this, DRTs has been implemented. Number 2, Credit Information Bureau 2000. So this assists the banks by maintaining and sharing data of individual defaulters and willful defaulters, so that the banker will be alarmed to further extending the loans to the defaulters, for such defaulters. Number 3, Lok Adalats 2001. So they are beneficial in tackling and recovery of small loans up to the limit 5 lakhs. Number 4, Compromise Settlement in 2001. So this stipulates a simple mechanism for recovery of NPAs for loans below 10 crores. So this mechanism is inclusive of all cases which are pending before the court and also before DRTs. But willful defaulters have excluded in this compromise settlement. Number 5, SARFAESI Act 2002. The Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest Act 2002. It permits banks to recover their NPAs without the involvement of the court. So this act, which enables the banker to go for recovering the loan without the intervention of the court. That's it. Through acquiring and disposing of the secured assets in NPA accounts with an outstanding amount of rupees 1 lakh and above. Under this mechanism, the banks have to first issue the notice to the defaulter, and then after the borrower fails to repay, then they can take ownership of the security for which the loan has been sanctioned. And control over the management of the borrowing concern. And third, appoint a person to manage the business concern which has been controlled. In the year 2016, this SARFAESI Act was amended and further strengthened to recover the loan, recover the NPA. Right? Sixth, ARC, Asset Reconstruction Companies. The RBI allotted license to 14 new ARCs in 2016 after the amendment of the SARFAESI Act of 2002. So these new companies, asset reconstruction companies, are created to uncover value from stressed loans. Earlier, lenders could enforce their security interests only through courts, which was a time-consuming process. But now they can utilize this. With this mechanism, they could able to recover the loans. Seventh important steps that has been implemented: corporate debt reconstruction in 2005. This meant that the burden of the debts on the company by decreasing the rates paid and increasing the time the company has to pay the obligation back to the banker. So this mechanism, it helps the borrower who are defaulters to have enough time to repay the loan. Eighth, 5:25 rule 2014. This rule is flexible structuring of long-term project loans to infrastructure and core industries. It was put forward to maintain the cash flow of such companies since the project timeline is lengthy. As you know that infrastructure projects which take long time, long years to complete the project, such companies do not get the money back into their books. So that is the reason why there is a need of loan at every 5 to 7 years for refinancing the projects with long gestation period projects like infrastructure. Ninth step is Joint Lenders Forum 2014. The RBI has suggested the banker to go through this mechanism to prevent the possibility of giving loans to some individual or some companies from the different banks. Different banks, might be public sector banks, come together and giving huge loans to the borrower. So then the burden will be distributed among the different banks. So this is also one of the good methods that has been suggested by the RBI. 10th important the step is Mission Indradhanush 2015. It is meant to bolster the performance of the public sector banks by various means represented by the term A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That is nothing but A stands for appointments, B stands for bank board bureau, C stands for capitalization, D stands for distressing, E stands for employment, F framework of accountability, G governance reforms. So that is known as Mission Indradhanush. 11th step, Strategic Debt Restructuring 2015, SDR. So this is very important important scheme for the banker. Banker who have given the loans to the corporate borrower gets the right to convert the complete or part of their loans into equity shares. This is the way through which the banker will be entering into the business, and they will also try to uplift uplift the corporate from the financial loss. 12th important step is Asset Quality Review 2015. It ensures the classification of stressed assets. It helps in the timely identification of the asset, ensuring that they do not become stressed assets through prompt action that has been taken beforehand. 13th important step is Sustainable Structuring of Stressed Assets in 2016. It is meant for the resolution of largely stressed accounts. It includes the various steps like determination of sustainable debt level for a stressed borrower, etc. 14th step is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Act 2016. The Economic Survey 2015 and 16 argued that the Indian economy was facing the Chakravyuha challenge as the sick and non-performing companies were unable to exist. So they could not able to exit from the business. So therefore, this code seeks to promote entrepreneurship, availability of credit to such sick units, and balance of interests of all stakeholders by consolidating and amending the laws relating to the reorganization and insolvency, resolution of corporate persons, partnership firms and individuals in a time-bound manner. Next step is recapitalization of public sector banks. In 2017, the government came up with a very dynamic and spirited plan to infuse 2 lakhs crores capital over the next 2 years into the public sector banks, afflicted with magnified level of non-performing assets. Twin balance sheet problem, both bank balance sheet and as well as corporate balance sheet, troubling corporate India and also the public sector banks, amply reflected in slow bank credit growth. The government has taken this massive step to capitalize public sector banks to support credit growth and job creation in the efficient manner. 16th step is Amendment in Banking Regulation Act of 1949 that has been made in the 2017. The RBI can direct the banking companies to resolve the issue related to this specific stressed assets by initiating insolvency resolution process wherever required. 17. The further suggestions to be given in order to tackle the problem of non-performing assets. Number 1. Banks need to adopt more conventional approach in giving the loans to the sectors that have a history of being sound and found as a contribution towards the NPA. And the process to sanction loan by banks needs to be very strict. Such a robust process should be beyond the traditional analysis of financial statements of the company, and past record of the loan applicants has to be done. So third important suggestion, an appropriate agenda needs to be formed to incentivize quality professionals to join the discipline of insolvency professionals. Fourth one is greater efficiency must be promoted in debt recovery tribunals with renewed enthusiasm in order to reduce the burden on NCLT. Fifth, the bank should be armed with latest credit risk management techniques to secure bank funds and reduce the insolvency issues in the bank. Sixth step is bank should analytically consider the feasibility to develop the credit derivative market to avoid such MTA problems. Seventh one, various issues like finding the right trustworthy borrowers, operational feasibility of economic project, time bound disbursement of the funds that has been sanctioned, proper end use of the funds by the corporate houses, judicious and prompt recovery of the loans, etc., should be prioritized to reduce the incidence of fresh non-performing assets. So let's conclude this the non-performing assets. In the year 2017, India was ranked 5th on the list of the countries with the highest non-performing asset globally. Undoubtedly, the NPA issue has tormenting the banking system in our country. Its impact is magnified given the giant size of the banking industry, the country like India. The RBI, in its latest financial stability report in June 2018, warned that the gross NPAs of banks are likely to increase further in the current macroeconomic scenario. So there is a crying need to deal with this problem through urgent remedial measures. They are: technology and data analytics can be utilized to recognize the early warning signals towards the NPA. Second, a suitable mechanism should be created to identify the hidden NPAs. So thirdly, advancement of internal skills for credit assessment has to be infused in the banking system. And lastly, forensic audits can also be pressed into service to understand the intent of the borrower. With this, I conclude the session. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.